Padres in the World Series, and they've won the first 2 games of this series, 9 straight. Esteban Loaiza, the former Pirate, split his 30 appearances equally between the bullpen and starting. He came on strong after the All-Star break to make their starting rotation, and as a starter, his record was 8-4.
But Bobby has a good fastball, a slider, and a good changeup. But he did something unusual today. He wrote in the paper that he says you have to beat the Yankees with your fastball. And I've said this all along, that you have to pitch them inside and keep them honest. But I don't know why he would tell the world that, knowing that he's going to have to pitch against these guys. And let's take a look at the defense. Todd Zill at third base is playing with a pull muscle in his rib cage, and he made an error in game 1 that hurt, but he made 25 errors this season. But he has been playing the last couple of weeks with a pull muscle, so he's not moving around as well as he normally does at third base.
You know, Joe, you were talking about Loaiza's game plan. Rick Helling, despite the loss, turned in a very strong start for the Rangers in game 2 at Yankee Stadium and threw about 85% fastballs.
I don't think there's any doubt that's the way to pitch them, is to use fastballs in and out and, you know, throw a few changeups. But to put in the paper that that's how you're going to pitch them, these Yankee players are pretty smart. They're pretty intelligent players. They can adjust to anything that you're doing out there. There's Rick Helling, and he did throw well the other night. The pitchers that have given the Yankees trouble have been the real hard throwers, like Jared Wright, Bartolo Colon. Those are the ones that have given them trouble through the years.
The Yankee leadoff man is Chuck Knobloch, and he, like tonight's starter, Roger Clemens, is a Texan. Knobloch is from Houston. The Texas Rangers won more games this year than any season in their history. They had a team slugging percentage of .479. They averaged almost 6 runs a game for Johnny Oates. But that's against the rest of the world, not against the Yankees in October. Foul back. When they face the Yankees in the postseason, it seems like all of a sudden the Rangers remember that they used to be the Washington Senators. It's already been quite a day of playoff baseball around the country. Knobloch cuts and misses. Loaiza ahead of him 0-2.
And that's a pretty good pattern right there. Fastball up and in. Then he goes low and away with a fastball.
Well, the fans didn't come here to roll over. Knobloch pops one foul, and it'll be in the seats. The Astros' last game of the season was the last game ever in the Astrodome. The Braves held off their rally and finished them 3-1. Todd Pratt subbing for the injured Mike Piazza, a 10th inning homer to dead center field, and therefore the Diamondbacks are dead. And the Mets move on against Atlanta in the NLCS, and the Red Sox stay alive at Fenway, winning 9-3 over the Indians, but they still trail 2-1. Way high, so this is game 4 of baseball's playoff Saturday.
And he has thrown 4 pitches, and all 4 of the pitches have been fastballs. But he does have a very good changeup.
He nods yes at Rodriguez's sign and gets the call from John Hirschbeck. Hirschbeck, the plate umpire, has a notoriously wide strike zone, perhaps the most generous strike zone of any American League umpire.
Well, he went after Knobloch with all fastballs, and he gets the inside corner for strike 3, and that's a good start for Loaiza.
Boos for Derek Jeter. Not that he's done anything to deserve them, but just about anybody wearing a Yankee uniform is in disfavor in Texas. Outside, ball one. Working with Hirschbeck tonight. Joe Brinkman at first. Mike Riley at second. Darrell Cousins at third. Rocky Rowe has the left field line. Larry Young, the right field line. Outside, 2-0. Loaiza beat the Yankees here on August 25th, 7-5. That's his only decision against them this year.
And that's the first breaking ball that he has thrown. He went 2-0 with fastballs, and he comes back with a good slider, and Jeter out in front.
Fastball in on his hands, and he hits it well to left. I mean, really well. And it's off the top of the wall. Jeter pulls up at second. McLemore blocked him a little bit, and Jeter is complaining to the second base umpire Mike Riley that McLemore, moving over from second base toward the shortstop position, blocked his path between second and third. Derek Jeter, meanwhile, just muscled that ball, which was in on him, and almost hit it out of the park.
And you see the two umpires are three umpires now conferring on whether he was interfered with or not. Now Torrey wants an explanation of whether the ball was actually a home run or not. So two conferences going on here. Let's take a look here. As you mentioned, here's Jeter coming around third base. I would have to say that that's not interference there.
But the umpires are placing him at third.
Well, the point is Jeter is not looking at where he's going. That's why he runs into McLemore. And that's what Johnny Oates wants to know. See, Jeter was not looking, and I think that's what McLemore is trying to explain. He was going over for the relay.
Jeter, meanwhile, has two questions. His first, did McLemore interfere with me?
Right.
Apparently the umpires say yes, he's been placed at third. Now he's talking with Willie Randolph and asking him the second question. Was it out? Was it a home run?
Well, it actually hits right here on this little shelf, so it should not have been a home run. Where's the yellow line? Yeah, but it should be the bar is obviously the home run mark, but there should be a yellow line there. So there's a yellow line around the center field and every place else.
On the obstruction call, Jeter is placed at third, and the Rangers pull the infield in. Rodriguez bluffs the throw, and Jeter, knowing his reputation, dives back into third. With Paul O'Neill out of the lineup, Bernie Williams, who had been hitting cleanup, is in the third slot, and Tino Martinez is batting fourth tonight. What a state of affairs for Johnny Oates. Runs have been so hard to come by. Even in the first inning, he can't afford to fall behind, and he has to pull the infield in.
When you're down 2-0, you need to score first. So he's going to try to let that happen. He's going to make sure he doesn't just give them a run here in the first inning.
Called strike, 2-1. Has the sign he wants now. And his 2-1 pitch is a fastball high and away. Loaiza is 27 years old. Came to the Rangers from the Pirates midway through last season in a deal that sent the highly regarded second baseman Warren Morris to Pittsburgh. That's a strike as he got the corner. Morris is a candidate for Rookie of the Year in the National League, but Loaiza has worked his way into the rotation and gets the ball for Game 3 of the playoffs.
And he's making some quality pitches with his fastball. The ball that Jeter hit out was a good pitch. He just muscled it out there, as you said. Jeter just hit it off the wall, and it hit him on the fist.
The 3-2 to Williams. Fouled away.
Well, he got that one in the middle of the plate, but it had good movement on it, and Williams was only able to foul it back. Now watch the target. Ivan Rodriguez low and away, but this ball here is in the middle of the plate. And he fouls it off.
Loaiza needs the strikeout, but walks him instead. 2 on for Tino Martinez, who in general has pounded Ranger pitching this year, but he's found the offerings of Loaiza especially to his liking. He's 5 for 10 in his career against Loaiza, and 3 of those 5 hits are home runs. Now the infield moves back and looks for the double play. Jeter at third, Williams at first. Tino Martinez led the Yankees with 28 home runs, which is a surprisingly low figure in this era. 45 big leaguers hit 30 or more this year. 13 hit 40 or more. None of them were Yankees. That's strike 2.
And that's the second breaking ball that he has thrown. Loaiza's not a guy that's going to get a lot of ground balls. That's what he needs right here. He needs a ground ball, a pop-up, or a strikeout. But his fastball is not a sinking fastball, so he's not going to get a lot of ground balls. The hitter may hit a few, but they'll have to be because they're on top of the ball. He doesn't have a natural sink to his fastball.
Got him.
Great location with the curveball.
Right on the black. And he records his second strikeout of the inning.
First pitch, fastball up and away, fouls it off. Now he comes with what looks like a curveball, but he calls it a slider. And one more. It looks like it has a little hump in it, and that's usually called a curveball, but he calls it a slider, and it's his pitch. So we'll call it a slider along with him.
Now it's up to Strawberry. Strawberry has not played left field at all since coming back to the big league club. He's been used exclusively as a DH. And a derisive chant of Darryl, Darryl from the Arlington crowd. One thing that should be clear already from called strike 2 and 3 to Martinez. If it's close with Hirschbeck as the umpire, you better wail away. And Strawberry launches one to deep left center field. Way back at the track, at the wall, and gone. Just when it looked as if Loaiza might wriggle his way out of the first, Darryl Strawberry puts him in a 3-0 hole.
Well, you cannot throw Darryl Strawberry out over the plate. You try to keep the ball in on him. That's where the target was, in. But he didn't get it in. See, the ball moves out over the plate. You're in trouble when you get a fastball out over the plate and it's middle of the belt down. And you can see Loaiza is watching it. Not very happy.
Here's Ricky Leday in right field tonight. Chad Curtis playing left with O'Neill out of the lineup. 2-0 the count.
I want to show you this again. He has talked about using the fastball, but you got to stay inside. See where the target is? He's inside. The ball's going to end up way over here. That's right where Darryl Strawberry can get the extension. Look at the extension he gets here. That's what he wants to do, extend his arms. And when he can do that, he can drive the ball out in any part of the ballpark.
3-0 to the day.
Always try to stay in tight on him so he can't extend.
Called strike. Loiza's history has been that when he faces adversity, he tends to unravel a bit. Let's see if he can hold it together here. Leday fouls it off. You know, watching that replay from the center field camera of Strawberry's swing, you have to marvel at his strength. Smooth, easy swing, and he drives it out to the opposite field.
Well, he has so much leverage, Bob, because he's tall and he has that long swing. And it's a long, beautiful swing.
McLemore at second. Bobbles it, but has time. And that takes care of the Yankees in the first. But not before they jump out to a 3-0 lead, looking to win the series 3-0. Juan Gonzalez off Andy Pettitte in Game 2 is the only run they've mustered in the series.
Talked about Roger Clemens and him being a power pitcher, an aggressive pitcher, and they're going to have to react to him. Well, he's got a 3-run lead. It makes it a lot more difficult to deal with the Rocket in the first inning. And let's take a look at the defense. And you see Ricky Leday in right field. He's there in place of Paul O'Neill, who is injured. And this is his second career start in right field. There's Ricky.
Roger Clemens, who lives in Houston, who attended the University of Texas, handed out more than 30 passes to friends and family for tonight's game. Trying to write a second chapter to a disappointing season and trying to correct something that's amiss on his resume, which is his postseason record. He's had 9 postseason starts, and in most of them he's pitched at least decently. There are obviously a lot of no decisions in there, some in which he left with a lead and the bullpen for the Red Sox faltered, but nonetheless he has only 1 postseason victory.
And you can see how Roger Clemens goes right after you. He's aggressive. He's trying to be aggressive in the strike zone. And that is the difference between, say, Orlando Hernandez and Andy Pettitte. They're spotting their fastball. But the thing is, if Roger Clemens gets ahead of you, he has so many weapons to go to. The high fastball, the splitter, the curveball.
And he gets McLemore looking.
I mean, when you're almost at his mercy, if he could get ahead of you 0-2 or 1-2. And you see the curveball right there, a big curveball thrown to a left-handed hitter. He'll throw more sliders to right-handers, but every once in a while he'll come right over the top there with the curveball and a strike 3 call. But the key for Roger is if he can get ahead, stay ahead in the count.
Ivan Rodriguez, who had their only 2 hits in their Game 1 loss, and then had another base hit in Game 2. He's sub 200 lifetime against the Rocket.
Bob, I think what the 3-0 lead allows Roger to do is start almost every hitter with a fastball just to try to get ahead. He has a good enough fastball that he can throw it to anyone.
Back by Rodriguez, a ball and a strike. Most observers say that Clemens has lost little velocity. He still has good stuff. What he did not have this year was command. One indication of that, for his career, his strikeout to walk ratio is better than 3-1. This year, it was less than 2-1, the worst ratio of his career. In fact, his walks per 9 innings pitched were the second worst in the entire league this year. Second behind only the notoriously wild Bobby Witt, who's now with Tampa Bay. Hit towards second. Knobloch, who led the league in errors for a second baseman, completes the easy play.
And Bob, one thing to remember about Roger Clemens, he had a hamstring injury early in the season, and only Roger knows how much that affected his delivery. Only Roger knows how that shortened his fastball. Only he knows how that changed his delivery. You know, he would tell you he was okay and all that, but I'm sure there were things that were bothering him throughout the season.
Rusty Greer punches one toward the middle. Jeter scoops it up, and the Rangers go in order in the first. After one in Arlington, Yanks 3, Rangers zip.
You know, a lot of times we see pitchers over the years hurt themselves reaching out, trying to barehand the ground ball. Roger Clemens, a veteran, knows this ball's not hit hard enough. His first reaction is to grab it, and then he realizes it's not hit hard enough to get through, and he lets the shortstop, Derek Jeter, make the play. That's a veteran play right there.
Fastball hit to short. Clayton juggles it, recovers, and pegs over to Stevens to retire Brocious. Chad Curtis, the hitter now. He had been platooning in left field with Ricky Leday. Wasn't slated to start any games in this series because the Rangers don't feature any left-handed starters. But with Paul O'Neill hurting, Leday moves from left to right, and Curtis gets a start. Strike one to him.
And you can tell the guys that he figures a good fastball hitter. Scott Brocious, good fastball hitter, so he throws him some breaking balls. Chad Curtis, good fastball hitter. He starts him off with a breaking ball.
Another breaking ball fouled off. Joe Torre told us before the game that if this had been a Game 5, maybe he would have gone along with Paul O'Neill's request to play. Paul did want to be in the lineup tonight, but Joe Torre thought that discretion was the better part of valor with his team in front 2-0. Another chance for McLemore from the outfield grass. He retires Curtis. And folks, you can go in depth on every game of baseball's postseason by logging on to MSNBCSports.com. Follow all the division series with comprehensive total casts featuring pitch-by-pitch updates and real-time box scores. Plus, the Reds' Barry Larkin provides a player's perspective with exclusive analysis on all the playoff teams. MSNBCSports.com, the official website of NBC Sports. A strike to Joe Girardi.
We were talking about Paul O'Neill. I talked to him before the ball game. You're right. He really wanted to play, but as Joe Torre told him, if we can get past this round, we'd rather have you healthy the rest of the way than to go out there half hurting every day and maybe hurt yourself again, because Paul O'Neill doesn't know how to play the game except 100%. He feels like if there's a play in right center field, he's going to die for it.
2 to Girardi. O'Neill is here. At present, he's not on the bench. He's back in the clubhouse receiving treatment. Torre told us he might be able to pinch hit if needed. And Girardi stays alive. According to all the scouts and baseball people, Loaiza has a live arm.
And they say he has the best arm on the Texas staff. And they expect great things from him. He's still learning how to be a starter.
Growing up, who was his pitching idol? His opponent tonight, Roger Clemens. And he fans Girardi with high heat, his third strikeout. In contrast to the first, he sets the Yankees down in order in the second. Palmero and Zeal in the Texas second. Gonzalez has 5 career home runs in 45 at-bats against Clemens. A long drive to center. Bernie Williams turns, retreats to the track, to the wall for the catch.
Again, with a 3-run lead, that allows Roger Clemens to come after these guys with a fastball and make them hurt him, and he's just coming after him with a fastball, high fastball. Juan Gonzalez doesn't get all of it. He gets enough of it, he thinks, but Bernie Williams runs it down. And this is a pretty big ballpark. The ball doesn't carry really well to center field. You can see he had quite a few feet left before he was going to hit the wall. But I think they have really played into Rogers' hands by giving him that 3-0 lead to start with.
Ball 1 to Palmeiro, who also has had a good bit of success against Clemens. .325 lifetime with 3 home runs. There's a strike. Clemens' ERA of 4.60 was by far the worst of his career and almost 2 runs a game higher than his figure last year, which was the American League's best. In fact, prior to this year, he had won the last 2 Cy Young Awards, 97 and 98, bringing his career total to an unmatched 5, and he had won the last 3 American League ERA titles. So 14 and 10 and 4.60 is uncharacteristic, even at age 37. 2-2.
Bob, what that really tells you is that, again, the injuries affected him a lot more than people think. Because you do not just go from being the Cy Young Award winner and having the earned run title the last 3 years and all of a sudden jump up to 4. So there had to be a reason. He still has his good fastball. He still has his slider. He still has his forkball.
Palmeiro spoils it. When he's really on, you'll see hitters swinging at strike 3 in the dirt when that forkball or splitter darts straight down. Full count.
And there was the pitch you were talking about, but Palmeiro laid off of it.
247 career wins, 5 20 victory seasons. Through the box, big skip off the mound, and into center field for a 1-out hit.
When you think of Palmeiro, you just think of a sweet swing, smooth swing. He doesn't overswing. He's just so smooth and quick. Look at that. Just great extension right back through the middle. Look at this. Everything is quiet. Hands are quiet. Doesn't lunge at the ball. Just rips it right back through the middle for a base hit. He is probably, in my opinion, the most underrated hitter in baseball. He does so many things. I mean, he drives in runs. He hits for a high average. I mean, he is just one special hitter.
Zeal with Stevens on deck. A called strike. There has never been a unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer. Obviously, Clemens is in on the first ballot. He'll be close to unanimous. Might wind up with close to 300 wins. Those 5 20 victory seasons. 5 Cy Young Awards, an MVP, 5-time strikeout leader, 6-time ERA leader. That is a resume that ranks with the great pitchers of the century. And in fact, in the fan balloting for the all-century team, Clemens was one of the half-dozen pitchers selected by the millions of fans who voted.
And you look at his record, he deserves those votes.
Zeal taps it foul, 1-2. Cleveland Indians, who averaged 6 runs a game, outscored the Texas Rangers this year. But when you get to the division series against the Yankees, a different story. A radically different story. 2-2 to Zeal. obviously the numbers that any team piles up offensively in this offense-crazy era in baseball, much of it is accomplished against diluted pitching staffs, and you're facing much superior pitching when you get into the playoffs, especially when you keep drawing the Yankees in round one, and you can't get past them. Line to center. Bernie Williams scampering back to take it.
Well, that's very similar to what happens to Houston each year. They have to play the Atlanta Braves, the best pitching staff in baseball the last few years, and they're always the same. They do not score any runs. But you're right, when you face the top three pitchers on the best staffs in the leagues, you're always going to have problems scoring runs. During the regular season, you see 5 starters, they go 5 deep. During the playoffs, they go, at worst, it's 3 deep.
2 out, 1 on for Stevens, who had 24 home runs. Foul ball, strike 1. Clemens wearing number 22. He was always number 21 with the Red Sox. When he got to Toronto, he actually offered a teammate, I think it was Carlos Delgado, a $16,000 Rolex watch to give him number 21, which Delgado did. Then he gets here to New York, and Paul O'Neill is established with number 21.
Didn't need a watch.
Already knew what time it was. Yeah. So he tried the reverse. He took number 12, and when he got off to a slow start, he bagged number 12 and went to 1 notch above his past number, 22. That is 1-1 pitch.
That's the best splitter he has thrown in this ball game. It started in the strike zone and all of a sudden just exploded. Watch, you'll see that this pitch starts in the strike zone, but once it gets close to the plate, it just explodes. Look at that, straight down. That's almost an unhittable pitch.
And then the fastball up, and Stevens couldn't catch up with it. Second strikeout for the Rocket, who leads it 3-0 after 2. Knobloch struck out looking to start the game. Loaiza spins him away. Loaiza was on the playoff roster last year for Texas, but didn't appear in the division series loss to the Yankees. So this is his first postseason action. 27-year-old from Tijuana, Mexico. Lives now in Pennsylvania as he began his career with the Pirates. Sharply to short. Clayton has it, and Knobloch is retired. That'll bring up Jeter. Interesting at bat for him in the first. He sends this one to very deep left. Greer goes back, and the ball hit at the very top of the inside fence. There was confusion on 2 fronts. Mark McLemore was called for obstruction, and Jeter was allowed to advance from second to third. But there was some question as to whether the ball had cleared the interior fence. That's out of play, and it actually bounced back onto the field from the back wall, in which case it would have been a home run. Jim Gray talked with the plate umpire, John Hirschbeck. Here's Jim.
Bob, John Hirschbeck told me that the ball, in his estimation, and the left field Rocky Row, was that it did hit off the top of the padding there. There is no yellow line here. It's not required. Hirschbeck said it would be much needed and should be out there, but it's not required in the ballpark, and that's what made the decision tough. But they felt that the ball did not hit the back, that there is some distance there, and it would be much easier for Row to tell. Bob?
Thank you, Jim.
I agree with the umpires. There should have been a yellow line there, and there should be. I mean, there's one in center field. You can see the yellow line left center over the right center, but there's not one in straightaway left field. And there's the gap.
Soft fly ball to shallow right. Gonzalez coming in. 2 out in the New York third. By the way, wrapping up that play on the Jeter hit, he is officially credited with a triple. When obstruction is called and the umpire grants the batter however many bases he thinks he would have made had the obstruction not occurred, then the batter gets credit for that as if he had just advanced to that base on his own. So he's credited with a triple.
And we first thought he was jammed a little bit on that pitch, but he actually pulled his hands in really well, and he really got the good part of the bat on the ball.
Since the Strawberry home run put him in a 3-0 hole, Loaiza has retired 6 straight Yankees.
Well, he was throwing well the entire first inning, and he almost got out of trouble, but he made the one bad pitch, fastball out over the plate to Strawberry. And Bernie Williams keeps thinking that those pitches are off the corner outside, and John Hirschback keeps calling them strikes.
Strike 2. Got a good piece of the plate at the knees. Johnny Oates sick as a dog before the game. The flu bug really bit him. Probably wasn't feeling all that great down 0-2, and his team unable to scrounge any runs. A chopper over the leaping Loaiza and into center field for a 2-out single.
Well, that's why Bernie Williams hit over 340, because even with 2 strikes, he's able to find a hole. See the target low and away? He's not going to get it low and away. See Pudge reach back inside. That ball was over the middle of the plate, but Bernie Williams still had to hit it. So you have to give him credit as a hitter with 2 strikes, finding the hole back through the middle of the diamond.
There was a story in the New York papers this week that Bernie Williams might be shopped around by the Yankees. Brian Cashman, their young general manager, emphatically denied it. Said it's the most ridiculous thing he's heard since he's been with the Yanks.
Well, they were speculating, saying that, you know, they were trying to hold the budget and so forth and so on. I didn't know they needed a budget. The Yankees.
Well, I guess everybody does. Theirs is just at the high end. Some people budget for hamburger, others for filet mignon. But there's a limit either way. Martinez struck out looking in the first. Fists a little pop back of first, and foul ground. Stevens takes it. And the Yankee third is in the books. To the bottom half, with the Rangers still trailing 3-0. And these Texas Rangers were after him in the offseason. They offered the outstanding outfield prospect, Ruben Mateo, who most people feel is a future star, to Toronto as part of the package trying to get them to deal the Rocket. Instead, Toronto went with the Yankee offer. Check swing foul off Clayton's bat. And so they took David Wells, the left-handed reliever Graham Lloyd, and the young second baseman Homer Bush, all of whom did well for Toronto, in exchange for Clemens. There's no way that Wells' career compares with Clemens' career, but the postseason is a different story. Wells is an 8-1 career playoff and World Series pitcher, and a perfect 5-0 for the Yankees in the postseason. Tonight, Clemens is looking for just the second postseason victory of his long career.
There have been a lot of great pitchers who have not done as well in the postseason. And I think you have to be judged on the overall season rather than just what you do in 1 or 2 starts in the postseason.
Clayton fouls it off. because Clemens is working on long rest. It's been 9 days between starts, and he says that throws him off a little bit, usually, because he's pitching in front of family and friends, because he's anxious to do something impressive in the postseason. There was some concern that he might have excessive adrenaline going early, but no sign of that.
No, I think he's been able to hold his emotions in check. I think it really helped that they had 3 runs for him before he had to take the mound. That gave him an opportunity to sit in the dugout and settle down rather than have to throw his warm-ups and then go right out to the mound, after 3 outs. I think everything has worked in his favor tonight, getting the lead, giving himself a chance to settle down, and he's just doing the rest with sheer ability.
And he works 1 and 2 to Clayton, who fouls it off again. Against the Rangers this year, Clemens had 3 starts, a win, a loss, and a no decision. But the loss, in a way, might have been his best performance of the year. 7 innings on June 17th in a 4-2 loss to Aaron Selig. The Rockets struck out 13 and walked only 1. The 13 Ks by far his best strikeout performance of the season. One-two pitch. Another foul. Clemens, the strikeout artist, has 4 children. All of them K's. Kobe, Corey, Cody, Casey. One better than a perfect inning. Unless the catcher dropped a 3rd strike, which has happened, a 4 strikeout inning. In. Royce, the former Cardinal, is using what's called the Sam bat, so-called because Sammy Sosa uses it. It's supposedly made in Canada. Well, it is for sure made in Canada, but supposedly made of extra hard maple. Clayton hit a career high 14 home runs using it. Sammy Sosa did just a bit better with his. 2-2.
As you mentioned, this is a good at-bat for Clayton. He's spoiling the good pitches that Rogers made. And the more pitches you see in an at-bat, the better prepared you are to get a base hit. And that's why the Yankees have done so well over the last couple of years. They run a pitcher deep into the count, and then by the time you get there and deep in the count, you know what his fastball's doing, you know what his curveball's doing, you know all the pitches and their movement.
Clayton has fouled 6 pitches in this at-bat. The fans boo a bit as Girardi visits with Clemens. As Joe Torre put it, he hasn't had a single game this year, speaking of Clemens, where he's really had his full arsenal going. That full arsenal is still very impressive if he can somehow regain command of it. Early indications in this game are good. Full count.
Well, we'll see about his command here, Bob. We'll see where this fastball is. If this fastball is in, then he has good command of his pitches tonight.
Right over the heart of the plate. Knobloch knocks it down, picks it up, gets it.
Well, the pitch is over the middle of the plate, as you mentioned. But with a 3-0 lead, he definitely doesn't want to walk anyone. But there's a fastball. He hits a bullet toward Knobloch. actually hits him on the heel of his glove. Now he has to react. And truthfully, this is when he's been able to make good throws, when he has to go and get it and just make the throw without thinking about it. He's been able to make complete throws on double plays and plays where he just reacts quickly.
Here's the number 9 hitter, Tom Goodwin, bluffing a bunt and taking a strike. Brocious was in very close at third base anyway. Chance for Knobloch. Plays this one cleanly. 2 quick outs in the Texas third. Here's what happened at Shea this afternoon. How improbable is this? With Matt Manti on the mound in extra innings, Todd Pratt playing only because Mike Piazza has the injured thumb, and Pratt, the former pizza delivery man, really delivers. Beyond Steve Finley's grasp, look at John Franco dancing around. He's in the LCS for the first time in his career. The Pratt homer wins the game and the series for New York. And a base hit up the middle for Mark McLemore. So that sets up this matchup in the National League Championship Series, which begins Tuesday night at 8 Eastern Time here on NBC. The Mets will be in Atlanta. Now, this year, Atlanta beat the Mets 9 times in 12 tries. But that doesn't always tell the tale when you get to the postseason. Remember 1988, the Mets had beaten the Dodgers 11 times in 12 tries. And the Dodgers beat them in the League Championship Series. There was no division series then. On their way to the World title, as they also upset Oakland in the World Series. Is 0 for 1, and he takes a strike. The word from the Mets as of a couple of hours ago is that Mike Piazza is still day-to-day in terms of his availability. They won both games he didn't play with Todd Pratt back at the plate.
You do not want to continue to play without him. You can get by without one of your stars for a few days, but I don't think you want to go into Atlanta without him the way the Braves have beaten up on the Mets.
Jeter goes to the bag himself and barely beats McLemore. That'll do it in the third. It's still 3-0 New York.
Are doing the same thing.
Darryl Strawberry, who did the damage in the first, 3-run homer to left center. Called strike.
And you can see the difference. That pitch is inside. They're going to try to stay in tight on him. They'll go away just for effect, but they have to try to stay in tight on him. See the target inside again.
Down low, 1-1.
He has proven his entire career that he can handle the ball out over the plate.
Spanked toward the hole, and it's by the diving McLemore. So Strawberry is 2 for 2. Strawberry didn't do anything in the opener. Then Joe Torre, who seems to push all the correct buttons, used Chili Davis in Game 2 as the DH, and Davis got a big hit as the Yankees broke a 1-1 tie in the 7th inning of Game 2 in the Bronx. Now Chili Davis sits, Strawberry plays, and he's 2 for 2. Still runs pretty well. Leday cuts and misses. Ricky grounded out his first time up.
Last year, Leday and everyone contributed, and we talked about the Yankees. You talked in terms of a 25-man team that didn't have any superstars. Well, that's no longer true. I think Derek Jeter and Bernie Williams have both stepped to the forefront, and they are now the 2 stars of this ball club. Everyone else just kind of does their thing to support what those 2 great players do.
In there to Leday, 1-2. nobody out. And down goes Leday. Strikeout number 4 for Loaiza. And coming up on NBC.
Monday on NBC's new hit Law & Order series, a co-ed's murder reveals a dark secret. Law & Order Special Victims Unit, Monday on NBC.
Hard-hitting drama Monday on NBC. I'm a Richard Belzer man myself. Always liked him. Liked him as a stand-up, as a talk show guest. Now in a dramatic series. A ball to Brocious. Including his ground out tonight, Brocious is 5 for 10 in his career against Loaiza.
Brocious is one of the better fastball hitters in the major leagues. I mean, he can hone in on a fastball and hit anybody's fastball. So you see Loaiza is throwing him a lot of curveballs. First time up, every pitch was a curveball. So far this at bat, all curveballs. And you see Pudge Rodriguez, he looks over in the dugout to see if they want to pitch out.
Play ball. Clayton to McLemore on to Stevens. 6-4-3. And the Yankees are gone in the 4th. Still a 3-0 game in Arlington. Almost unbelievably, he's at 0-77 in the playoffs. 3 for 39, counting his ground out in the first tonight. He's bucking a couple of negative trends. He's 4 for 32 lifetime against Clemens on top of it.
I tell you what, that looked like the best fastball that Clemens has thrown the entire ball game.
That one's at the knees, 0-2.
See, the one thing that Clemens is able to do that is fantastic, Bob, is that he can change your eye level. He can throw the high fastball, get you looking up, and then he throws that splitter down. Or he can throw it in reverse, have you looking down for the splitter, and then he brings it upstairs like that with the fastball.
Gonzalez and Palmeiro will follow Greer in the Texas 4th. Bouncing ball to short. Greer's troubles continue as Jeter throws him out. Juan Gonzalez represents all the offense Texas has had. This solo home run in Game 2, barely beyond Ricky Leday's leap just over the fence and left. That's it. 1 run and 2 runs in the last 54 1/3 innings against the Yankees, dating back to the 4th game of the '96 division series. So Gonzalez is truly the Lone Ranger in this series. And no support from you, Kemosabe. I start to go down the drain and you're bailing. Gonzalez had 39 homers during the regular year. 2-0 the count.
In the first at bat against Gonzalez, he threw him a high fastball up and away. Juan hit it deep to center field, but he didn't hit it out. He comes back with the same pitch, try to get Juan to swing at that fastball up and out of the strike zone again. He doesn't, so now he tries to come to the splitter. He misses with that. And we'll see if Roger's willing to challenge him here. I think he will with a 3-0 lead.
High fastball cut on and missed. And anxious Gonzalez chases one out of the strike zone. He torched the Yankees in the division series in '96 with 5 homers in 4 games. Yankees won anyway, but since then he's been quiet along with the rest of his teammates.
And you cannot chase Roger Clemens up above the letters as he did there.
up and in. Gonzalez was the American League MVP in '96 and '98. Playoff and World Series performances don't count. So in '96, when he went on a rampage, in '98, when he was shut down, it had no effect on his MVP standing. .3-1 pitch, grounded toward the hole. Brocious can't get it. A one-out single for Gonzalez.
I really like the way Roger Clemens is pitching, Bob. I mean, he is staying off the big part of the bat. He is staying down. This is a 3-1 fastball, but look what it's doing. It's bailing down and in on him. All he can do is hit a ground ball. I mean, he gets a base hit, but Roger doesn't really care that much. He wants the ground ball. It's out of the reach of Brocious, so Gonzalez gets a base hit. But all he's trying to do is just to contain these Texas hitters, and he's doing a great job of that. He's not trying to strike every hitter out. He's trying to stay off the fat part of the bat, and so far he's doing a great job.
He struck out 2, but he hasn't walked anybody. Palmeiro singled his first time up. Takes ball 1. Clemens' last outing of the regular season, like this one, came on long rest. With about a week's worth of rest, he lost at Baltimore, and in 6 innings, he walked 5 and hit 2. No such control problems so far tonight. Palmeiro pops it up. Let's see if it makes the seats. Girardi off with a mask. Brocious near the dugout has room. And that's the second out.
Same pattern as I was talking about before. It's a fastball in just enough that Palmeiro has to try to inside out the ball, and he pops it up. If the ball is out over the plate a little bit more, he would have hit it well. But watch where he ends up. Watch the ball in there, right there. See how he tries to bring his hands in to get to that pitch. But the ball was in on the inside half of the plate. Good job by Brocious to get over there in plenty of time. 2 down.
So here's Zeal, who lined to center his first time up. Fastball away.
I really believe Rogers throwing harder this inning than he has the entire ball game. Well, his fastball is hopping more. He's got a lot more movement on his fastball.
Down low. There have been 4 teams in baseball history who recovered from 0-2 deficits to win a best-of-5 series, be it a division series or when the LCS was best-of-5. Couple of differences. None of them had been as continually dominated over the years as Johnny Oates' team has been by the Yankees. So it isn't just a 2-game deficit. It's the whole specter of the New York Yankees that Texas is trying to deal with. In addition, the other 4 teams who came back from 0-2 to win a best-of-5 all went home for the last 3 games. Under the format now, they'd go back to New York for Game 5 if Texas could somehow win the 2 games here. So everything is stacked against them.
I think the thing that's really stacked against them is the experience of this New York team and how well they play and how well they play together. The experience does a lot in the postseason. It really means a lot.
They check down at first, and Joe Brinkman says no. Zeal did not go around. It's 3-1.
Well, this is that high fastball, and good call by Joe Brinkman. He didn't even really start the bat.
Gonzalez a short lead from first. And the 3-1 pitch from Clemens to Zeal. He didn't go. And a 2-out walk.
And that's the first walk of the game for Clemens. Let's take a look at Zeal. He actually starts the bat this time. Ooh. He was under control, though.
Joe Brinkman at first hesitated a bit longer before deciding that Zeal did not commit himself. So now Stevens is the tying run at the plate. On the first pitch, he'll end the inning. Martinez will take it himself. The Rangers strand 2 and still trail by 3. Since Strawberry's homer in the first, and hope that the slumbering Texas attack can awaken before time runs out on them. A strike to Curtis, who'll be followed by Girardi and Knobloch. That's outside. Loiza's season was interrupted in May when he slammed the car door on his hand. Billy Crystal would say, I hate when that happens. And at first, he didn't tell his team what had happened. I guess he was embarrassed to leave them short a pitcher in that fashion. But he was sidelined for a while. At the beginning of the year, they were using him in long relief. After the All-Star break, he took a spot in the rotation from the veteran Mike Morgan, and he's pitched better as a starter than as a reliever. 9-5 overall, 8-4 when he starts. ERA as a starter under 4. And an ERA under 4 these days is pretty darn good. Very good. The 2-2 pitch. Bouncer toward Clayton, who charges, throws on the run, and gets it.
I've talked about how Roger Clemens is staying off the fat part of the bat. Now watch this. He's in trouble, but he makes a good splitter that goes down and in, and it's really moving in. Now it jams Stevens, and he hits a little ground ball at first base. He is making quality pitches when he's in trouble. And Stevens elected to swing at that first pitch, which was pretty much a pitcher's pitch.
Girardi fanned his first time. Called strike. Hit hard, and it's by Zeal. That was a bullet, but Zeal could have played it. We'll see how they score it.
Well, because he's got a bad ribcage muscle, he plays in because he doesn't want to have to charge the ball too quickly, so he's in tight. Now watch, he's in pretty close for a right-handed hitter like Girardi, who doesn't run that well. But I mean, this is a bullet. You see where he is? He's in even with the bag. And I agree with you, he could have played that, but you see right there at the end, you can see him kind of winch in pain as he leaned over, but it did hit off the heel of his glove.
They haven't posted the scoring yet. Girardi at first with 1 out. Knobloch swings on the first one, skies it to center. Goodwin drifts back. Takes it in front of the track, and tagging at first is Girardi. He'll make it to second. Girardi runs well for a catcher, and a heads-up play that you ought to see more often, don't you think, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, it was real heads-up play, but look, the Yankees play good, sound, fundamental baseball. And when something like that takes place, they usually take advantage of it.
The ruling, by the way, on the ball Girardi hit is E5, an error for Zeal.
Probably think that he should have caught it, but that's still a tough error. When you're playing in that shallow and the guy rips the ball down there that hard, it's not easy to make the play.
RBI spot for Jeter. In his 5th year in the majors, his 5th time in the postseason. And a lot of the veterans around this club are telling him, kid, don't ever take it for granted.
And he doesn't. I mean, he talks about it openly. He says he knows how lucky he has been, and he's never going to
away.
He says he's never going to waste the opportunity. He's always going to be in shape. He's always going to work in the winter and be ready when the season gets here. Look at that. RBIs going up, the home runs going up. And he's getting stronger each year, and he's becoming a better player each year. So you can tell that he's not sitting back on his laurels. He's not taking anything for granted. He's working harder each year.
His skipper, Joe Torre, waited almost a baseball lifetime to make it to the World Series.
You know, last year, Bob, the season was over, and Jeter and Alex Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners went to Tampa and started working out right away. I mean, that's amazing. Right after the World Series, you start working for the next year. But it pays dividends when you're in shape.
Tonight he's tripled and flied to right. That's on the corner. At least according to the way John Hirschbeck calls balls and strikes. And you often hear players say, pitchers, catchers, hitters, as long as the ump is consistent, it's fine. He has a wide zone.
Well, let's take a look. Jeter thought it was outside. You can see where he's walking to let John Hirschbeck know that he thought it was outside.
The 2-2. Defensive swing, gets a piece of it and hangs in.
That was a beautiful pitch there by Loaiza. That ball was diving away, and Jeter was able to go out there and foul it. That's about all he could do with that pitch. Watch the location. Look at that, down and away, and all Jeter can do is go out there and get it. Down and away. Look at this. Good plate coverage there by Jeter. Rodriguez wanted him to go inside with the fastball. He said no. Well, we'll start all over now. When a guy can go out there and foul your best slider off the outside edge like that, you think that he's opened up the inside part of the plate.
Fouled off again.
But Loaiza did not want to go inside. That's why he kept shaking Rodriguez off. Rodriguez wanted to go inside with a fastball. There's Dick Bosman, the pitching coach on the left, and Johnny Oates, who is still under the weather. You can see that he's a little rosy cheek there. He's not up to his normal.
Roller toward McLemore at second. He throws Jeter out. Girardi is stranded at second to the bottom of the fifth. 3-0 has stood since the first. Joe, does it cease to become a matter of ability and it becomes a case of you doubting yourself if you're the Texas Rangers?
Well, I think it's going to be more about the pressure of the situation than the doubting of your abilities. They all know that they're good hitters. They all know that they can handle Roger Clemens in certain situations. But when you start to run out of at-bats and you realize that you're still down and you're facing an elimination situation, the pressure just starts to build, and then you start to overswing, you start to overthink, and that's a problem. But like I said, I like what Roger Clemens is doing. And sometimes we have a tendency to say the Texas Rangers are not swinging the bats well. Well, sometimes pitching has a lot to do with how well you swing the bats.
0-2 to Clayton. Last year, Wells, Pettit, Cone. This year, Hernandez, Pettit, Clemens. 2 runs in 5.5 games against 5 different pitchers. Only Pettit a repeater.
And the one thing we talked to Joe Torre about was his advanced scouts and how well they've done and given them directions on how to pitch to the Texas hitters. They have done a good job. I mean, apparently they know exactly what pitch to throw in every situation to the Texas hitters. And they've had the same scouts the last couple of years scouting the team here in Texas before the playoffs.
But Michael among them and Bob Didier.
But you still have to have pitchers who can execute your game plan. And the Yankees have pitchers who can execute that game plan.
Outside to Clayton, 2-2. The last team to lose a 2-0 lead in a best-of-5 was the Yankees in '95 in the division series against the Mariners. But that was a wild card Yankee team which hadn't yet won a world championship in this decade. A much different team. And the last 3 games were in Seattle. Will be next, and then McLemore in the 5th. Center field, Bernie Williams sprinting back, ball pretty well hit. Williams on the move, makes the backhanded grab at the barrier.
That's what Bernie Williams does best. Chase balls at an angle. He doesn't come in quite as well as he goes back. I mean, that's an exceptional play because he's running full speed. Now see, he's running at an angle. And he goes it to the perfect angle for this play. If he cuts it across 1 step too short, he wouldn't have been able to make the play, and you have to be glad that they have a pad out there to cushion this blow. But see, he goes at the perfect angle. If he's 1/2 a step either way, you're in trouble. And there's a fan running down thinking he's going to get a souvenir. But I think that's what Bernie does best, is go at angles in the outfield to run down balls.
Bernie Williams has been nursing a sore left shoulder for a couple of months. There is padding on the wall. It's not like the old days where you could literally knock yourself out running into the wall. But let's see what happens here.
Well, he runs into the wall, and you can see it does jar his left shoulder a little bit. But a fine running catch there by Bernie Williams. And that's another thing about the Yankee pitching staff. They know that if they make the pitches, keep the ball in the ballpark, they're going to get pretty good defense behind them.
In there, 2-2. Speaking a moment ago about the '95 Yankees, I had said about Derek Jeter, 5 years in the big leagues, 5 years in postseason. He did play a little bit for the '95 Yanks, but he didn't play in the postseason, and he was technically still a rookie in '96 and became the Rookie of the Year. So this is his 4th trip, 4th consecutive to the postseason as a big league player.
And Roger is getting a little bit more erratic with his pitches now. When I say erratic, meaning higher than he was before out of the strike zone. When he was missing before, it wasn't by much when he was high in the strike zone.
3-2 pitch, hit off Clemens' leg. He recovers, and from his knees, he throws Goodwin out. Now the question is, did that take anything out of Roger Clemens?
No, I think he blocked it, but it may have hit him on the thigh. It didn't hit him on a bone or anything. And Roger's kind of laughing at the trainer. He says, "I'm okay." Well, let's take a look and see where it actually hits him. Right back through the middle, or it hit him on his right calf. Didn't hit him on the knee, but it hit him on the calf. And there is some muscle there. It's not directly on the bone, and he's able to retire the fast running Goodwin. Right there off his right calf, and he knows where it is right away. And he just goes down to his knees to make the throw.
So 2 out, nobody on, and back to the top of the order for McLemore, who struck out and singled. Ball 1. Let's quickly check with Jim Gray.
All right, thanks, Bob. Steve Donahue, one of the trainers for the New York Yankees who ran out there, said that Roger Clemens is going to have a nice welt and a big bruise, but he's going to continue, and it should not affect his pitching at all.
Knobloch. Clemens sets them down 1-2-3 in the 5th. There may be only 12 outs remaining in the Rangers season. Made a fine play in center field in the last half of the 5th, robbing Royce Clayton of an extra base hit. He leads off now in the 6th. And he lines Loiza's first pitch to Clayton, who makes a leaping grab.
And Clayton likes that. He said, "You took one from me, I'll take one back." They've been pitching Bernie Williams away the entire evening. He hasn't liked some of the calls. This one's away, and he just goes the other way. But Royce Clayton leaps high in the air and makes the catch. And there you see Loiza. He said, "Yes, that's what I'm talking about."
Tino Martinez 0 for 2. In the first, Jeter tripled with 1 out. Williams followed with a walk. After Martinez was called out on strikes, Strawberry hit a 3-run homer to left center. And the 3-0 Yankee lead has stood up since then. You're the Texas Rangers. You scored 1 run in 23 innings in this series. 2 runs in your last 56 innings of postseason baseball. Now you've got 4 innings to make up 3 runs against the team that is your nemesis. 3-1. That is not a promising scenario.
Pitch on 3-1. He wasn't about to give in to Martinez. As you mentioned earlier, Martinez has hurt him with the long ball.
Pitch. A bouncer to Stevens. He short hops it and makes the unassisted putout. Here's Strawberry, who's 2 for 2. A single to go with his home run. Here's the bomb in the first.
And it was a bomb. Left center field. This is the deepest part of the ballpark, and there was no doubt once he touched it. And there's the base hit he had in the 4th inning. And you can see they're trying to make an effort to keep the ball in, but the last base hit moved back out over the plate as well.
Two 2-0. Strawberry is 37 years old and obviously can still help a team and is still a feared hitter. But when you think about what might have been, when he came up at just about the same time the Mets brought Dwight Gooden to the major leagues, it looked like they might very well be the most dominant pitcher and most dominant everyday player in the league for a decade or more. Exciting and charismatic on top of effective. And the 2-1 pitch is a fly ball to shallow left, and Rusty Greer will finish the Yankees in the 6th. But the Rangers can't afford to match zeros. They got to get something going. A few innings away from seeing the virtually unhittable Mariano Rivera. So now, with Rodriguez, Greer, and Gonzalez-Dew, and Palmeiro waiting if anybody reaches, now would be an excellent time to get something going against Clemens.
Well, I go go back to something Johnny Oates said at the beginning of our telecast. He said when the Yankees are playing well and doing all the things that they do to put you under pressure, they're tough to beat. And I've come to the conclusion, you know, most of the regular season people were saying they're not as good as they were last year, they're not this, they're not that. And they're correct. They weren't as good maybe on an everyday basis as they were last year. But I'm watching them now, and it seems like every game they're turning it up a notch. They seem to be getting better each game that I've seen. From the first game of this series to tonight, they seem to be just getting into postseason form, and they look like they want to defend their title. This is a good team, and it's a very smart team. They've got experience, and above all else, they've got a lot of professionalism about them. And they carry themselves like champions.
A ball and 2 strikes to Rodriguez. Obviously, there are excellent veteran players and young players like Jeter who have uncommon presence, but I think a lot of the tone still emanates from the manager's office.
Right, no doubt. And I'm one of those guys, a little skeptical. I don't like to say that these Texas Rangers are not a good team. Look, they have been beaten 2 times by the Yankees, and each time the Yankees went on to win the World Championship. So it's not like they're just losing to a run-of-the-mill team. They're losing to the world champion the last 2 times they faced each other. And that's not to say that this game is over, but the point still remains that you have to give the Yankees a lot of credit and not knock the Texas Rangers.
But eventually it becomes deflating to win your division 3 times in 4 years, to have the most victories in franchise history this year, to score nearly 6 runs a game, to have 3 MVP candidates in your starting lineup, in Rodriguez at the plate now, Gonzalez and Palmeiro, and to be so utterly futile time after time against the Yankees. Rolled foul. This isn't like the Kansas City Royals in the mid to late 70s, who lost 3 straight to the Yankees, but all those series were close and hard fought. This isn't the Brooklyn Dodgers wait until next year, because they were competitive with the Yankees or with the Giants in the pennant race. This is just a complete wipeout.
This is what I was talking about earlier about Roger Clemens getting the ball down. You can see the splitter. This is his split-fingered fastball. And watch how it goes straight down. Rodriguez only makes contact because he's such a good hitter. I mean, that ball starts about the knees and just disappears. And you have to be a good hitter just to make contact with it.
Another foul ball, and holds at 1-2. Rodriguez hit .332 this year. It was the 5th straight time he topped 300.
Let's take a look at this pitch again. Here it is again. And he said, well, maybe he was lucky to foul the last one. I'm going to throw it again, but he fouls it again.
On his fists, Martinez over near the railing, and it's a few rows in.
Bob, we were talking about MVPs in the American League in our last telecast. I'm going to give you some numbers on Rodriguez. He had .332, 116 runs, 199 hits. He's hit more home runs than any catcher in the history of American League in one season, 35. I mean, he had 20 stolen bases, 20 home runs. He's the first catcher to ever do that in the American League. I mean, I don't understand how we're not going to give him the MVP, but there are so many other great players. That's what I was telling you. This is going to be a very difficult decision to make this year on who the MVP in the American League is.
It gets by Clemens, picking it up as Jeter. Quick snap throw to get Rodriguez.
Nice play there by Clemens. He got a piece of that ball, or else it would have gone through for a base hit.
And now Girardi is walking to the mound to check on Clemens.
Well, he tried to get it with his glove, but it actually hit his bare hand. Jeter comes in, charges, and makes the throw. Now watch, he sticks his glove out there, but it actually misses his glove. Watch, he sticks his glove out right there. It hits him on his right hand and deflects the shortstop. It looked like it hit him high on the thumb, so it didn't hurt. It looks like, see, he shakes his hand, but it looked like it just got him on the top of the thumb, on the meat part of the thumb. And he seems to be all right.
So score at 1-6-3. Greer bats with 1 out and nobody on. 0 for 2 tonight. A pair of ground outs to shortstop.
You know, Bob, earlier we saw him in the ballgame on a slower hit ball be able to pull his hand back. He wasn't thinking about grabbing it with his bare hand there. It just happened that his bare hand was behind his glove hand because he had to reach across his body.
You don't want to base too much on a single outing as Clemens falls behind Greer 3-0. But if in fact the Yankees close out the division series here, there's a victory for them on another level. Roger Clemens may believe that his '99 season begins tonight and that this is the outing that matters and that this is a springboard to more success in the LCS or possibly beyond. Called strike with what they already have in their arsenal. If Joe Torre and Mel Stottlemyre get Roger Clemens going, how do you beat the Yankees?
The only way you're going to beat them is have better pitching.
Where's that going to come from? Unless you're the Atlanta Braves, maybe. A 1-out walk to Rusty Greer.
Let's take a look at earlier in the ball game. We talked about Roger. Here's a chopper. See, takes his hand away, but the next couple of balls, one off his right calf, and this one gets him on the bare hand as he tries to backhand it. A little shooting gallery out there, but he's able to continue in the ball game.
Because the Rangers have been unable to do anything, you almost get lulled to sleep. But at almost any given time, they're a swing away from being back into it, like right now. Gonzalez tries to go the other way, but it's out of play.
And just because I talked about how well the Yankees are playing and how they're getting better with each game does not mean that the Texas Rangers are going to give up in this ball game. They have some good hitters that are able to make up a 3-0 deficit in the last 4 innings. But this is a big inning right here. You have Juan Gonzalez followed by Rafael Palmeiro with a runner on base already.
And the 0-1 pitch. A ball and a strike.
And this is the 3rd time through the order, so they have seen Roger and know what his pattern is in tonight's ball game.
Check swing roller toward Martinez. A wasted at bat for Gonzalez. Greer at second, but with 2 down.
Well, again, Roger makes a good pitch when he needs it. Slider away, and Juan Gonzalez tries to check his swing, and he can't do so. Watch, this is slider. It looked like a fastball over the plate, but it kept going away from him. Tried to stop his swing and couldn't. And it becomes the 2nd out here in the inning. But one other thing, Bob, if they can get a run here, it's not important to get 2 or 3. If Rafael Palmeiro can get a base hit here to drive in that run, it puts him in the game mentally, because it also lets Roger Clemens know that they can hurt him. At this point, until you score a run, the pitcher doesn't think that you can hurt him. He thinks he's bulletproof. So if you can get a run, show him that you can hurt him, then you have a chance down the stretch.
Palmeiro has singled and fouled out against Clemens. Good good pitch on the corner, strike one. Todd Zeile on deck. Palmeiro bounces it back to the mound. Nice stab by Clemens. Greer is stranded at second. Only 3 more turns at bat remain for the Rangers. Put up with the combat helmet, complete with the Yankee insignia. Seems to be in fine form as he sits in the visitors' dugout in Texas. He once managed the Rangers.
He's been in baseball for 50-plus years. Is there a team that he hasn't managed?
Ricky Leday with a base hit to start it in the 7th. There are probably a few, but almost no organization that hasn't in some way been touched by Zimmer and the players he's influenced. Just the 5th hit for the Yankees. The Rangers have 3 off Clemens. But the Yankees put 2 hits and a walk together, and one of the 2 hits was a strawberry home run in the 1st. Brocious looks to bunt, and it's foul.
Interesting play there by Joe Torre. 3-0 lead. He's trying to just add 1 more. A lot of managers at this stage would go for the kill, but he's trying to make sure that he gets 1 or 2 more runs, and that'll ensure him that he'll be able to get to his closer.
Zeile in on the grass at third. The 1-strike pitch to Brocious. He was beginning to square before the throw chased Leday back to first.
And this is the time of the ball game when Brocious is dangerous when he's hitting, because a pitcher has lost a little bit off his fastball, and he's one of the best fastball hitters in baseball.
Another foul bunt. But remember, earlier in this series, Brocious got a 2-strike bunt down for a successful sacrifice.
Well, Loaiza has thrown him 2 breaking balls, and he's pushed them both foul.
It's often said of Torre, he's an American League skipper who manages National League style.
And that caught a lot of teams by surprise when he first came over here to the Yankees.
Brocious swinging on the 0-2 pitch, and it's in the seats.
Brocious has only seen 1 fastball this entire ball game, and that was in a double play situation where he threw him a fastball down and away, and he hit a ground ball for a double play.
Squibber up the first base line and foul. Chad Curtis is on deck, and he'd be followed by Joe Girardi. We're in the 7th. 3-0 New York. It's the Mets and the Braves in the National League Championship Series. Mets finished off Arizona. Atlanta did the same to Houston. Each series ends 3-1. Another foul ball out of play. Cleveland went for the sweep at Fenway, didn't get it. Red Sox won today 9-3. There'll be a 4th game in that series tomorrow. The ALCS doesn't begin until Wednesday. NLCS starts Tuesday. If the Yankees completed the sweep tonight, they could get some much appreciated rest. Chance for Goodwin in center. He scarcely has to move. We know there's at least 1 playoff game tomorrow, as the Cleveland-Boston series has been extended. So So on Fox, you'll see that game, Game 4, or Game 4 of this series if the Rangers rally and force it. Curtis is grounded out twice. Talking about Joe Torre playing a National League style, it brings up the question, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here with you, but what exactly is the purpose of the DH in 1999? I understood it in the early 70s when offense was at a near all-time low and when the American League lagged behind the National League in popularity. But now that's been turned on its head. In my lifetime, there's never been offense like this, especially in the American League. You don't need to juice the offense. If anything, you need to cut it back a little bit. And time of games is a big concern, and the DH obviously adds to the time of a game. Our stat man, Elliot Kalb, says 2 words: Harold Baines. You know, and that is the argument for the DH, that it extends the careers of great players like Molitor, Murray, chopper. Zeal with a diving play. Gets up and throws. And at the other end, Stevens with the scoop. A spectacular play by Todd Zeal, who's been charged with a couple of errors in this series, but makes a bid for the highlight film with that one.
Well, Bob, it doesn't get any better than this. Look, this ball is right down the line. 2 quick steps and a dive. It takes him into foul territory. Now he has to get up and get the speedy Chad Curtis going to first base, and he gets just a little help from his friend at first base there, Lee Stevens, as he picks it out. And Lee Stevens stretches halfway across the infield to get it. I mean, this is a beautiful play. He gets up very quickly, and look at Lee Stevens. Beautiful.
Brooks Robinson would have been proud of that.
And he looked a little bit like Stretch McCovey there, reaching across the diamond. I mean, that was well executed on both ends.
Leday moved up to second. Girardi's 0 for 2. Lazy fly ball to center. Goodwin squeezes it to retire the Yankees in the 7th. Stretch time in Arlington. Desperation time not far away. The hopeful Ranger fans settle back into their seats, and they accord Todd Zeal a round of applause in appreciation for the tremendous play he made to rob Chad Curtis in the top of the inning. Now he leads off in the bottom half. It's been 3-0 since the top of the 1st. That's where we stand, bottom of the 7th. Fastball up and into Zeal. Stanton the lefty, Nelson the righty. Clemens has thrown 1 complete game this year, a June shutout against the Tigers. He has only thrown 90 pitches so far tonight. Even if the shutout is intact, I doubt he'll be around at the finish, not with the bullpen the Yankees have. And now he's behind Zeal, 3-0.
Rivera is still sitting. He's waiting for the 9th.
Want to bring the hammer down, I don't know anybody better to do it than Mariano Rivera, who was unscored upon in his last 32 innings of work and hasn't blown a save in nearly 3 months. Zeal takes all the way, and Clemens gets the inside edge.
If you're on the Texas bench, someone needs to take control and say, let's use these 9 outs to the best of our ability. Let's not try to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
In on his fist, and on the 3-1 pitch, he pops it up. Martinez makes the catch. So the bottom of the 7th starts hopefully for the Rangers. 1 pitch from getting a man aboard.
Well, you have to give Roger a little credit there. He came back with a 3-1, 3-0 fastball for a strike. Then the fastball ran in on Zeal, and he jammed himself. Again, that's what we're talking about. He's staying away from the fat part of the bat so far in this ball game.
A strike to Lee Stevens, who has struck out and grounded out. Stevens fanned to end the 2nd. Clemens hasn't struck anyone out since then. But he's certainly been effective. Another chance for Martinez. Clemens will cover. Roger Clemens closing in on his 2nd career postseason win. Let's look back on his first victory. It was Game 7 of the ALCS in 1986. At Fenway Park, he beat the Angels 8-1. That completed the remarkable Red Sox comeback, not only from a 3-1 deficit, but remember they were down in the 9th inning. They went into extra innings, and eventually they beat the Angels in Game 5.
Roger's hurting out there, Bob. He was limping when he was walking up on the mound, and that's why Girardi's out there to find out what's wrong. He was limping as he walked back up on the mound. And it could be when he was covering first base. We'll take a look. Yeah, right there you see him start to hobble a little bit. And I noticed when he was walking back up on the mound that he was favoring his right side. And Joe Girardi went out. He said, I'm okay.
Clayton's 0 for 2, grounded to 2nd. And then Williams went to the wall in center to take his long drive back in the 5th. Approaching 100 pitches, looking to close out the 7th, which might very well close out his evening. They could go to Nelson in the 8th and set the stage for Rivera in the 9th.
He is definitely not 100% out there, but he's a warrior, and he wants to get through this 7th inning.
High and away, 3-1. Something to Clemens, I think, with his pride and the career he's had, to walk off completing the 7th rather than to be replaced in the middle of an inning. And Torrey's aware of that. He throws the fastball by Clayton. 3-2.
Bob, when he released that pitch, he really followed through and he was bending a little bit. Watch his body as he finishes the pitch. Watch his body at the. See right there? See, he is hurting.
Clayton slices it foul. Nelson and Stanton warming up in the bullpen. I mentioned the possibility of Nelson in the 8th, but assuming that Clemens retires Clayton, the scheduled hitters in the 8th would be Goodwin, a left-handed batter, a switch hitter McLemore, and then Rusty Greer's waiting behind Rodriguez. So it's possible they'd begin the inning with Stanton. We'll see. Roll it to 3rd. And it was foul at the plate. Foul ball at the plate.
I don't think there's any doubt that this is probably his last hitter. is aware that he's not 100% out there. Talks it over with Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach.
Another 3-2 pitch. Hit in the air to left center field. Bernie Williams again on the run, and again he chases it down. Clayton's going to have to start aiming somewhere else. Clemens may be finished, and if so, he gave Torrey a heck of a night. Stottlemyre and Zimmer. Little doubt that Clemens is finished for the evening. He worked 7 innings, gave up no runs, 3 hits, walked 2, struck out 2, threw 103 pitches. Loaiza is also done, and outside of Strawberry's 3-run homer in the first, he gave Johnny Oates a fine outing. Here's Rookie of the Year candidate Jeff Zimmerman out of the bullpen for Texas. Jim Gray tells us from downstairs that Roger Clemens has told Torrey that he wants to stay in the game, and maybe that's what they're discussing.
Well, he definitely said he was okay, but when you grab your glove, that means that you're pretty much out of the ballgame. I'm just not sure Joe's going to let him go back out there. And Roger did grab his glove.
Strong outing for Loaiza, but he stands to be the loser.
Remember, we talked in the first inning, just 1 pitch away from getting out of the jam in the first inning.
The only way he doesn't lose is if his team can score more runs in 2 innings than they've managed in the playoffs in 2 years. 2-2 to Knobloch, who's 0 for 3 on the night.
And Bob, remember at the beginning of this series, Joe Torre told us the reason he was starting Strawberry is because he wanted a presence in the middle of that lineup. And Strawberry does bring a bigger presence than, say, Chili Davis does or any of the other DHs at this time.
A chance for Gonzalez in right, and he retires Knobloch. Earlier today, elsewhere in Texas, last game ever at the Astrodome, Brian Jordan, who had all 5 RBIs in the extra inning win in Game 3, looking on. Top of the 3rd, John Smoltz, who had a couple of base hits to help his own cause, is on base when Brett Boone singles him home. Atlanta leads 2-0. On to the 6th, Eddie Perez facing Chris Holt singles to score both Ryan Klesko and Andrew Jones. Braves led 5-0 at that point. They held off a late Astro rally. They win Game 4 7-5 and the series 3-1. On to face the Mets in the NLCS beginning Tuesday night, 8 Eastern time on NBC from Atlanta. So we'll see you Tuesday night from Turner Field. Jeter with a base knock. He's 2 for 4.
When a hitter hits 350, 349, you are a good hitter. You can hit a lot of different pitches. You can hit some tough pitches that the pitchers throw. That's a tough pitch there. Breaking ball down and away, reaches out and gets it. And the same thing we talked about Bernie Williams. He can hit a pitcher's pitch. When you're going to hit that high for a batting average, you're going to have to get a lot of base hits on pitches that the pitcher really wants to throw to you at that certain time in the bat, and you're at bat.
Has walked, singled, and was robbed of a hit on a leaping catch at short by Clayton. Strike 1. Another peek week in that Yankee dugout. You couldn't tell by the expressions on the faces of Torrey and Zimmer whether this was a spring training game. They're about to go on to the LCS. Kind of a baseball version of Rushmore.
Well, both of them are friends of Yogi Berra's, and they know it's never over until it's over.
Chase back. Jeff Zimmerman, the Ranger pitcher now, a 27-year-old rookie. A Canadian who knocked around the minor leagues, the low minors, Class A ball, actually pitched in France, of all places, for a year in the mid-90s. Made the All-Star team as a rookie and is a candidate for Rookie of the Year, although the last couple of months of the season, he came back to earth a little bit. He was hit hard in August and September. His ERA was nearly 6, but still for the year, he was 9-3, and his earned run average was 2.36. He, along with Carlos Beltran of the Royals, would probably be the leading contenders for American League Rookie of the Year. One pitch, fouled away 2-2, and it got a piece of the catcher, Ivan Rodriguez. From Rookie of the Year to MVP discussion, in addition to the offensive numbers you were noting about Rodriguez, which are remarkable for a catcher, this is clearly the best defensive catcher since Johnny Bench, throwing out more than 50% of would-be base stealers, committing only one pass ball all year, and who knows how many wild pitches he avoided with his defensive skill.
And he plays the toughest position in baseball to keep up great offensive numbers.
Case for Jeter and for Garciaparra. For Rodriguez's teammate Palmeiro, although the fact he DH'd much of the year will work against him. Full count, and some people say Pedro Martinez should get both the Cy Young, for which he's a lock, and the MVP.
And you haven't even discussed the guys in Cleveland.
165 RBIs ought to give Manny Ramirez some consideration, and Roberto Alomar has been fabulous at second base. Let's see if Jeter runs on the 3-2 pitch. He does, and Williams serves one into left. Rusty Greer has plenty of time. So with 2 gone, it's Martinez who's 0 for 3. Goodwin, McLemore, and Ivan Rodriguez, the scheduled hitters in the 8th for Texas. Every seat is filled tonight at the ballpark in Arlington. But they have seen this story play out too many times in recent years. Not only are they on the verge of losing to the Yankees for the 3rd time in 4 years in the division series, but all 3 times the Yankees will apply the clincher, if in fact they win tonight, in the Rangers ballpark. Makes it just a bit more galling. Zimmerman's 2-0 pitch to Martinez. Way outside.
deck circle.
So you're saying there's no point in being overly careful with Martinez.
Exactly. I think you have to come right after it.
Green light, 3-0?
I don't think so.
He was swinging.
Again. The reason I didn't think so is because Darryl Strawberry was in the on-deck circle, and he did chase a bad pitch.
Inching away from first. He singled earlier in the inning. And the 3-1. Foul back, full count. There's still a long way to go in this postseason, even if the Yankees get by Texas. Cleveland is a powerhouse. If the Red Sox should come back and upset the Indians, I assume that means that Pedro Martinez is healthy, and nobody wants to face a team in a short series with Pedro Martinez. So no one's saying that the Yankees are a lot, but they're beginning to resemble, in another way, your big red machine team of the mid-70s, which in '76 didn't just win 102 games, but swept through the postseason. A called strike 3. Martinez thought he had drawn the walk, but Hirschbeck gives Zimmerman the call on the inside corner. Tino clearly not in agreement. Only 3 singles through 7 innings. Roger Clemens becomes a spectator. Jeff Nelson comes out of the bullpen for the 8th. And it's his job to get it to the 9th for Rivera. The leadoff man of the 8th is Tom Goodwin. He's grounded out twice. He hit .259 for the year. Brocious in close at third in case he drops one down. Nelson misses with his first one. Rivera's time will come soon enough. 1-1.
I think Torrey would use him if he got to 2 outs this inning and had any problems going. He would, let him get 1 out here to finish the 8th and then complete the 9th.
This ball is hit through the middle, and Goodwin leads off with a single.
Well, Goodwin waited patiently. He got a fastball in the middle of the plate, and he just hit it right back through the middle for a base hit. And the Rangers have something started here in the 8th inning, and out comes Joe Torre.
Going to his bullpen, and let's see who emerges. First, we step aside.
Surprised me that they're going to him for 6 outs. I thought they might go to him for 1 out in the 8th and then 3 in the 9th, 4 outs. Because you're actually taking a chance here that if he's not able to close it, then you're going to lose him for a couple of days, simply because if he throws that many pitches, you can't bring him back tomorrow. And I'm sure that Joe thought long and hard about that before he decided to bring him in.
Jeff Nelson threw only 4 pitches. Goodwin singled off him. The first time all night the Rangers have had the leadoff man on. Mariano Rivera did have 2 different stints this year where he threw 3 innings.
I don't think there's any doubt that he can do it, but then it takes him time to get back if you do not close this series out tonight.
Goodwin scampers back.
But if they win tonight, they're off until Wednesday.
Goodwin stole 39 bases this year. This is not a spot where you'd look for the steal. McLemore was 1 for 3 against Clemens. And he takes a ball. How about these numbers? Rivera had 45 saves. Hasn't blown one since July. He's unscored upon in his last 31 2/3 innings. And his career postseason ERA is 0.5. He misses high, though. It's 2-0.
That's a pretty good security blanket to have in the bullpen, isn't it?
He worked the perfect ninth in Game 2. Has the terrific fastball and then that cutter that he throws in on the fists of left-handed hitters, and that's coming at you 93, 94 miles an hour. Called strike. The Rangers fans certainly haven't given up. They came here to make some noise, and they've had precious little opportunity to do so until now. Brocious caught it on a fly, and they're going to turn a double play.
Well, no, I think, well, one guy signaled safe, and another one called it an out.
Double play.
Yeah.
He picked it off his shoe tops, caught it on a line, double play.
Well, he jams McLemore with that cut fastball. Brocious starts in, catches it in the air, and then throws across the diamond to retire Goodwin.
And shove the cheers right back down the throats of 49,000 plus. Talk about a deflating moment with that single pitch.
But again, you have to give the pitcher credit. He never gave in. He didn't throw a straight fastball. He threw another cutter in on the hands of McLemore. It jammed him, and he gets the soft line drive.
Rodriguez can't catch up to it. He's in an 0-2 hole. Rodriguez is 0 for 3 tonight. They check it first, and Joe Brinkman says no. He's still up there.
I don't think he throws a straight fastball anymore. He throws that cutter, and that ball is always moving. At 96 miles an hour, too.
Fouled away. Last year in the postseason, Rivera was unscored upon in 13 1/3 innings of work. If possible, he's been even better in the playoffs and World Series than during the regular year. That's high. Career postseason ERA 0.50. And his 2-2 pitch blew it right by Rodriguez. 3 outs from the ALCS. Calls on John Wetland in the 9th. He expects it to be to protect the lead, but he hasn't been able to use Wetland in this series until now, and he comes on with his team trailing 3-0. He was the Yankee closer when they won the World Series in '96. He was the World Series MVP. He saved all 4 of their victories over the Atlanta Braves. Then came to Texas as a free agent, and Mariano Rivera, it's fair to say, has filled his shoes and then some.
Well, looking back, Bob, he probably wishes he would have used Wetland when they were trailing 2-1 in Game 2 to keep it close. That's the way you have to pitch Strawberry, but you have to have a good enough fastball to get in there. You throw it in under the hands, but you better have a good fastball, and you better not move it 6 more inches out over the plate.
Foul back, 0-2. Wetland had 43 saves in 50 chances this year. His ERA climbed to 3.68. His first 2 years with Texas, it was right around 2. Ledet and Brocious will follow Strawberry in the top half of the 9th. In the bottom of the 9th, it's the heart of the order for Texas. Greer, Gonzalez, Palmeiro. One hopper to McLemore. And Strawberry is gone. David Cone was the scheduled starter for Game 4 tomorrow. It looks like it won't go that far. So the question becomes, do you pitch Cone, assuming the Yankees win tonight? Do you pitch him in Game 1 of the LCS on Wednesday, pitch him in turn against either Cleveland or Boston, or do you go back to El Duque, who did so well in the opener of this series, and just put Cone off until whenever? Ripped foul by Ricky Ledet.
Well, it's probably something that Joe Torre will decide after he sees who he's going to play and how each one of those pitchers match up against the lineups that they're going to have to face. We know that last year when they faced Cleveland, El Duque pitched the biggest game of their postseason drive to beat Cleveland. But David Cone has been a guy who has pitched in pressure situations and knows how to pitch.
To Ledet. I asked Joe Torre about it in his office before the game, and his response was understandable. He said, I don't want to think about it now. And even if he was thinking about it, he certainly didn't want to verbalize it. This is the last year of Cone's contract. And as successful as he has been, including the perfect game earlier this year, it's not a certainty that he'll be in pinstripes in the year 2000.
Well, David Cone has to be, one of your favorite players. I mean, just the way he carries himself, just the way he takes the game seriously, the way he loves being out there in pressure situations. I mean, you have to like him. And if you're the Yankees, you're lucky you have a guy like him to be around when you need him.
The 1-2 pitch, and Ledet goes down swinging. Which brings us to the play of the game, brought to you by Merrill Lynch. Succeed on your own terms with Merrill Lynch Unlimited Advantage. What a tremendous play by Todd Zeile, robbing Chad Curtis back in the 7th inning, diving to the chalk and then pegging it across the diamond to Lee Stevens for the out. Brocious bats with the bases empty. He's wearing an 0 for 3 collar tonight. Towards second. McLemore completes a 1-2-3, top of the 9th. Last licks for the Rangers when we come back. Ranger fans, most of them on their feet as we move to the bottom of the 9th. It took Mariano Rivera only 10 pitches to record 3 outs in the 8th. So it doesn't look like he'll be overworked as he tries to complete it here. Called strike to Rusty Greer, 0 for 2 with a walk.
We saw a chart earlier and showed that Mariano's strikeouts had gone down a little bit, and the reason for that is that pitch right there. He throws more cut fastballs now, which are in on the hands, and guys do put them in play. before he threw the high fastball that would ride up in the strike zone, the guys would swing and miss more. So that's the reason that he doesn't strike out as many as he did before, because he's using a different type of fastball.
Greer fouls it off, having managed just 2 runs in their last 59 postseason innings against the Yankees. The Rangers need 3 here in the 9th to stay alive. Gonzalez on deck, and then Palmeiro. Sliced foul. The Yankees are on the verge of their 10th consecutive postseason victory, dating back to Game 4 of last year's ALCS at Jacobs Field in Cleveland. The Rangers, on the other hand, might be about to lose their 9th playoff game in succession. Greer hangs in. Paul O'Neill, who earlier was back in the clubhouse taking treatment for his bruised right side, has come out to be on the bench in anticipation of his teammates finishing it and moving on to the next round. 1-2. Greer hangs tough. Royce Clayton left to wonder, along with all the other people in that dugout, where did all the power go? Toward the hole by Martinez's dive, a leadoff hit for Rusty Greer.
And that was a great battle there between Greer and Rivera. You have to give Greer a lot of credit right there. Rivera made a lot of great pitches with 2 strikes. He fouled them off, and he gets this one just enough out over the plate, see, that he can get the barrel of the bat on it. The other ones who was fouling off the handle because the cut fastball was getting in on him. That one gets in on him a little bit, but not quite enough that he can't get it through the right side of the infield. And the Texas guys are still in this ball game.
Gonzalez fly to deep center. Single, grounded out.
And this is a very key batter for Rivera, because Rafael Palmeiro can hit anybody's fastball. And you wouldn't want him up there representing the tying run.
They play behind Greer, who runs pretty well at first base. Rivera gets ahead of Gonzalez, 0-2.
And I think if that would have been a ball, Greer should have stole second base the next pitch. For 2 reasons. One, you stay out of the double play. You give yourself as many shots as you can get to try to score 3 runs. Because if you stay at first base, you hit the ground ball, it's a double play.
Wild pitch back to the screen, and Greer gets there anyway.
That riding fastball. He had thrown him a couple of cut fastballs. Now he comes with the straight fastball. See, look at that. That one is a riding fastball. He's trying to throw it just above the letters for the strikeout to get him to chase it. See the difference? That was not the cut fastball. And he probably just overthrew it a little bit.
Now the 1-2. Gonzalez lost one to right. Leday comes in. The Rangers are down to their final 2 outs.
And if you're Joe Torre, you breathe a little easier now, because you know that Rafael Palmeiro cannot tie the game.
Over the last couple of years, there have been a lot of comparisons made between these Yankees and the Big Red Machine of the mid-'70s, and you've been right in the middle of that. Obviously, it's very difficult to compare era to era, especially now, because this era is so different, right? Even from 10 years ago, let alone nearly 25 years ago. But here's a similarity. Your Reds of 75 won 108 in the World Series. Then you came back to win over 100 again in 76, and not just win, but blow people away. There was no division series, but you swept the LCS and the World Series.
And I've said before that I am very impressed with this ball club. You know, in the way that they go about their business, their professionalism, and their experience. I mean, this is a very good ball club, and it's getting better.
The 1-0 to Palmeiro is in there. Last year, the Yankees went 11-2 in the postseason. They're on the verge of sweeping round 1 in '99. A little pop that'll make the seats. They need one more base runner. It's hard to tell if that pained expression is the illness that Oates has been fighting, or the realization that his team, which has done so well, just can't seem to do it when the calendar turns to October.
Well, I guarantee you this, that the loss hurts more than the illness. He'll be healthy again in a few days if he loses this ball game. But the losses will linger there until this time next year.
And Palmeiro pops one back of second, and Knobloch wants it. 1 out to go. Texas needs one more base runner to have a chance. If Zeal reaches, Stevens has 24 home runs. Todd is lined to center, walked, and popped to first. Rivera looking to save it for Clemens. Ball 1.
And Bob, this series so far has gone the same way as last year's. It's not so much the Yankee offense that has built up the 2-0 lead against the Texas Rangers, it's their pitching staff.
In there. Gonzalez hit 39 homers. Palmeiro hit 47. The team averaged almost 6 runs a game for the year. But not against the Yankees.
But you can almost say the same thing about the Yankees, though, Bob. They have not, just went out and destroyed the Texas Rangers offensively. I mean, Darryl Strawberry, one swing of the bat in the first inning is all the runs they scored today.
8-0 game 1. Right. Much of that came late.
It came late.
Yeah, Seeley actually kept them in the game. Yeah. A bouncing ball. Jeter from the outfield grass. Long throw. Zeal dives, but can't get there. It's over, and the Yankees sweep it. Tremendous effort by Zeal, but Jeter, with a fine play from the outfield grass, closes it out. And for the second consecutive year, Texas gets strong pitching throughout, and all to no avail because their vaunted offense is completely shut down by the Yankees.
And I'll tell you something, Bob. 2 guys do not get a lot of credit, and I think they deserve a lot more. One is Joe Torre for this ball club here that's become just a great ball club, and Bobby Cox, who has led the Atlanta Braves to postseason play each and every year. These guys are the heartbeat of their ball clubs. They're the ones that the players take their keys from.
2 New York teams clinched division series today, but very different circumstances. For the Mets, a tremendous surprise the way it unfolded. They were left for nearly dead less than 2 weeks ago. They managed to make it to a wild card playoff. Then they come back without Mike Piazza, and the guy who replaced him, Todd Pratt, wins it with a surprise homer in extra innings. They go nuts. They act as if they've won the World Series or at least the pennant. These Yankees certainly are happy, but this is just one step along the way, and their reaction is much more subdued.
Well, again, you take your key from your manager. If your manager was overly excited, you would be as well. But I don't think you can take anything away from the Mets because they celebrated, because I think there was a long time coming for them. The Yankees are used to this. I mean, let's face it, the Yankees have been, won the World Championship 3 out of 4 years. I mean, they're happy. I mean,
they're trying to.
Yeah, they're trying to. But I mean, they're ecstatic as well. They're just keeping their emotions in check.
Tonight's Chevrolet Player of the Game is Roger Clemens, winning his second career postseason game in front of many members of his family and many friends from Texas. He gave out over 30 passes to tonight's game, and now he's with Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. I'm with Joe Torre, the manager, and Roger Clemens. You're waving to your entire family. How important was it for you to do this in front of all your fans and your mother and so forth?
Well, it was special. I talked to Skip earlier before we got down here, and I was fortunate to get this start. And this is one I was looking for, and it's been a long time coming. These guys I tell you what, it's really fun and enjoyable to play with these guys.
Roger, Joe Torre has said that you have not had your full arsenal all year. Did you tonight?
I was pretty good tonight. I felt that Joe kept me under control, and, again, Skip's been after me all year just to really, with me, less is more. I think I've been just trying to do too much, and same thing Skip told me about coming down here. I said, I really want this opportunity, and he said, just stay under control and try and get it done.
You only gave up 3 singles tonight. You struggled during the regular season. Bob Costas made a good point during the game. He said, maybe in your mind, the season starts tonight. Is that how you're feeling?
Well, hey, every start's a big start for me, and sometimes, I'm my own worst, enemy out there because I try too hard sometimes, but hey, sometimes you don't get it going away. The 2 years prior to, we won the Triple Crown for pitching. So, it's whatever it is, it's good enough. And we still got our best money pitcher in the bag. Coney didn't even pitch yet for us, so it's going to be interesting.
Your calf okay?
Calf's okay.
All right, Roger, congratulations to you. Joe, congratulations to you. You've now won 10 straight games in the postseason. That's not easy for anybody, is it?
Jimmy, I tell you, it's grueling. You think after what you go through in the spring, you say it's not important anymore, and then you get in that dugout and it starts grinding and you start melting, and you realize how big this is.
Are the Yankees playing their best baseball right now?
I think so. I think we're playing a very calm yet aggressive and confident game right now. It was a little, we had a little lull. This was a tough series for us, Jimmy, for one reason. We played on Tuesday, then we're off Wednesday, then we played on Thursday, and we're off Friday. We're very tough to keep momentum up, and I thought early, we were a little quiet, and then Straw just woke everybody up.
You talk about not having a rhythm. Now you find yourself and your team being off until Wednesday. Is that good because you'll get O'Neill and some of the guys who are banged up healthy, or is that bad because you're going to lose some of this momentum?
No, that's fine. That's fine. And a big thing is O'Neill. We need to get him back, and I know this time has got to help him.
Your pitching rotation, we talked before the game. What do you do now with David Cohn?
I don't know. He'll pitch, though. You can bet your life. I just don't want to say something now and without telling David and without talking to Mel about it.
You've had some great battles with the Indians. Obviously, there's a great rivalry with the Red Sox. Do you have a preference? Do you care?
No, not really, except I hope when they're both finished with that series, they're both exhausted. Maybe we can get advantage that way. It's going to be a good series either way.
Final thought, Darryl Strawberry, a guy who is having another chance right now, made the best of it tonight. Just talk about, that's the only run scored in this game.
I know. I said, what did you do tonight? All the way back in the first inning. And it's a tough call. Chili's such a professional hitter. He got a big hit for us the other night. And when I told Darryl tonight that he was playing, he says, I'm ready, Skip. His eyes lit up. It's such a nice story because, Darryl had some hiccups in his life, and especially this past spring with everything he was going through, and to come back and have the players just welcome him with open arms and do what he did tonight.
And the health problem that you had, and now you find yourself in this position. You said earlier in this interview, you didn't think it was as important, but it seems to be that's the case right now.
Jimmy, you find yourself in that dugout willing to sell your soul. It's sad to say, but that's what competition's all about.
Joe, congratulations. We look forward to seeing you in the ALCS and beyond if you get there.
Thanks, Jimmy.
All right, Bob, back upstairs to you.
Jim, thanks and congratulations to the New York Yankees. They outscored the Texas Rangers 14-1 in the series, Joe.
Well, as last year, Texas only scored 1 run in the 3 ball games, but you have to give the Yankee pitching staff the credit. I just don't think that the Texas Rangers all of a sudden stopped hitting for no reason. I think the New York Yankees had an excellent scouting report on how to pitch to each hitter in certain situations, and their pitchers were able to carry out those orders.
Joe Torre, much too smart, much too experienced to express any preference as to who his team meets in the ALCS, but you know he'd like the Red Sox to win tomorrow to even it, and then for Game 5 to go about 29 innings so that whoever emerges is, as he says, exhausted by the time they get to New York.
Well, one thing about his ball club, he knows he's got the experience, he knows he's got the professionalism, he knows he'll take these guys to war against anybody.
How about Torre? He starts Strawberry 2 of the 3 games. It works. He brings on Rivera, some would say early in the 8th. It works. Once again, the final score, the Yankees 3 and Texas nothing. Tuesday night at 8 Eastern, NBC is proud to bring you Game 1 of the National League Championship Series between the New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves. And coming up next on NBC, it's a special edition of Dateline with Stone Phillips and Jane Pauley. Then later tonight on NBC, following your late local news, it's Saturday Night Live, featuring some of the best moments of the 98-99 season. For Joe Morgan and Jim Gray, I'm Bob Costas. We'll see you Tuesday from Atlanta. Good night, everybody.